And we are going live. This is that Name This Stupid Show because we couldn't come up with a better name. We're going to have a discussion today about why we believe what we believe and, how we got there, what experiences in our lives or reason or logic or whatever it is. And I think that we're going to have a pretty good discussion. So what we have here so far is the wonderful love of my life, Michelle, the mother of my daughter, and Haley Moore, the rabid atheist, who's a lot more kind and gentle in real life than she is under her more ferocious Facebook demeanor. How you guys? So, Haley, I guess since I've talked plenty for the last two shows and stuff, and you never really gave your spiel on what's going on with your head and thoughts, because I know religion's always been a complicated love-hate relationship for you, and you've tended to fall on the atheist side, but you've wondered a bit, haven't you?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I've done a pagan type approach before. I was a Buddhist for several years.
And so what? Just tell me about your journey. Tell me about key points in your thinking and your life experiences. I mean, what are those moments where you're like, you know what? I'm pretty sure this is what I think.
I couldn't even begin to tell you.
Just a haphazard journey.
Yeah, it's been crazy, and it's evolving. I mean, people are constantly changing. It's just at this point in my life right now, it's not so much of a disbelief in theism or a belief in atheism as it is a disbelief in theism.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, why? It does seem like a negative assertion rather than a positive assertion. So, why would you say that that you have such an objection to Christianity or theism in general? I don't want to get too specific.
Well, because I don't see much value in religion. I don't think it's necessary for life. I think in most examples I can think of, it's been more harmful to humanity than positive. And I don't like to acknowledge something that I have no empirical evidence for.
So it's primarily an empirical thing for you.
Right. I'm not a very trustworthy person, and trusting books or disciples or other people's testimonies even doesn't come very easily to me.
Yeah, I mean, anecdotal evidence will only take you so far anyway, so it's probably healthy to have a certain level of skepticism when it comes to stuff like that. One of the things that we had established in the previous broadcast was that all of us, to varying degrees, after a lot of discussion, almost 5 hours of it actually, kind of in our own way admitted that there was, I don't want to say necessarily primarily subjective motivations for our choices and what we affirm, but it was very experience-based. It was very personal, and logic had a lot to do with it, reason had a lot to do with it, but what it really came down to was the cry of people's hearts, where they thought that they were at, what really appealed to them. And that's something that I've asserted for a long time, that we're not convinced to believe what we believe by any kind of argument or rationalization or anything. We choose to believe it because we want to, or because we're comfortable with it, or it's what we're naturally inclined to. What would you say about that?
I would say that you make a good point. I mean, people want comfort, and they want to make sense out of experiences they've had in their life, and religion's very good at doing that. And I mean, there's nothing inherently wrong with it. It's pretty human.
Right. My woman's coming into the room. Oh yeah, I can take her. This is my baby.
Oh, baby. Hi.
This is Adeline.
Hi, Adeline. What a sweetheart.
She's probably the most opinionated one out of all of us. Her and I argue all the time. She's pretty. She thinks on her feet really well. She knows just. I mean, of course, she doesn't argue so much with words, so much as like grunts, shrieks, and cries, but she gets her point across. Yeah, that's my baby. It's cool that she gets to, experience all this stuff and kind of grow up like this, because I'm hoping that, she's going to be a bit of a thinker like me and hopefully surpass me. And I think that a lot of times what gives people like us confusion in our adult lives is that we've been presented with such a monolithic view of the world around us. And I don't know about you, but my experience has been that no one person is completely right about anything, and there's not even any one monolithic view is completely right in everything that it asserts. And so when you're raised with that kind of fake certainty, when you're raised with that kind of just, it's almost like for you to consider anything else is instilled in you as a sin. And I highly disagree with that. And I think if it isn't outright indoctrination, it walks the line. And I will definitely teach my daughter what I've come to know. I mean, why else do I have a lifetime of lessons if I can't pass them on to my progeny? However, I always want to encourage free thought, open dialogue, and most importantly, question everything. Question yourself more than anything. Question your assumptions. Try to see what you believe, and work it out. Work it out with fear and trembling, even.
Right.
So, Michelle, you didn't really get in on the last week's conversation. I mean, whereabouts are you at? What do you think of the world? How do you look at the world? What do you think is true, and what's
The only thing I've come to the conclusion about is there is a higher power. What that is, I don't know.
And what makes you believe that?
Oh, things that shouldn't happen that do, like for instance, accidents that should have killed somebody didn't kill them.
Mm-hmm.
Like they didn't even come out with a scratch for some of these things, and it just shouldn't happen that way, and they do. There is a higher power, and it's looking out for us on some level. But
I'll tell you what,
it.
there's a lot of higher power in this room right now, because God favors small children and drunks. Oh yeah. Oh, she's spitting up, honey.
Great.
It's your first public vomit, baby.
That's
For that to happen.
I'm looking off to the right here, and it looks like Anna came in and she left. It looks like Vince came in and then he left. And I don't know where everyone is right now, but I know that Matthew is almost certainly going to be in. He just needs to eat something first. And Justin, he's having Wi-Fi issues. So
not having issues.
to see a list of available commands. Oh wow, you got all kinds of stuff you can do in the chat here. I can mute people. I'm not even bothered with that. I'm confused enough as it is. But yeah, I really, one person that I'm really looking forward to coming in is, hold on just a second. One thing that one person I'm looking forward to is Matthew, because he has his stuff that's really thought out well, and he has a real good epistemology that, unlike most of us, is rather unintuitive. I think probably Justin and me are two of the most intuitive of our circle of friends. And Matthew seems to be like one of those guys, almost Descartes-like, where he likes to strip away everything, start from scratch, and I really appreciate that. Seems like people, once again, are having a hard time getting in. Can't imagine why. See, Google really needs to sort this stuff out, because it's such a learning curve, and I'm really good with this stuff usually. Let me see. I even have everyone that takes part in this in a specific circle, so I can like add everyone all in one click.
Oh.
Yeah, like figure out little tricks, little pro tips here and there. It's not like Google helps you out with this stuff at all. Well, it's just frustrating to see Google going the way of MySpace. You know, I remember when MySpace used to be so simple and start getting all these bells and whistles and flash heavy and all that stuff. But anyway, I digress. So I guess I'll just go back over some of what I said last week and other people's thoughts as best I remember them. The people that I remember being here were Daniela Grace, Josiah Ray, they're an item. I think that David Michael Gregg was here for the entirety of it. We also had Sarah Awesome and her husband, Chris Reamer. Of course, me and Michelle. But, what's that? Did you say something? I think I'm lagging a bit. So anyway, so last week we let off with just our epistemology. A lot of people have never heard that word epistemology before. If you've gotten into any theological debates with me, then you've heard it many times, because we don't put the importance on epistemology that we need to. We just go about with these presuppositions, these presumptions. We just choose what we believe, and it's like, really, some things are weightier than others. Some things matter. So there's consequences to some beliefs, and I think that we really do ourselves a disservice by being so cavalier about it and not approaching it with a sobriety of, okay, what can I say is certain? And how do I know that? And I have known for a long time, I had to be honest, because I really take pride in my objectivity, and I have known for quite some time that objectivity is a myth. It doesn't exist. There's no such thing as objectivity in any person, even in myself. However, what we can do is we can have greater or lesser degrees of objectivity, and I think when it comes down to my ultimate decisions into what I ascribe, or just how I grab hold of something as though it's necessarily true. It's just a certainty in my heart, and I wish that it was more than that. And the cool thing is God really is good with giving me all kinds of confirmation after the fact, you know. But it really is. It's almost like just knowing. I just know, and I don't know why that is. Perhaps it's because. Perhaps it's a testament to my faith, maybe. I don't know. Maybe in trusting God genuinely, he sees fit to reveal things to me. Maybe it's a schizophrenic delusion, you know? But, I mean, see, and this is what I mean by when I talk about after the fact, and Michelle had touched upon this, is those pragmatic confirmations where, you know, I've never really gone without to any great degree. I've always been provided for. I've always been taken care of, even when I've made the worst choices and found myself in the worst situations. I really feel strongly that God's always brought me out of that, and that if it was just me, I wouldn't have made it. And there's a lot of faith-building experiences that I've had throughout my entire life. Some of them have been damaging to my faith, because what really sucks is when you believe in something and find out that it's wrong. A good example is my recent revelation about eternal conscious torment versus universalism. I can't read the Bible any other way now that I've seen it. You know, now that I see that universalism is all throughout Scripture, I can't read it any other way. But before that, it's like my eyes were veiled. It just looked like very much the Bible talked about people burning in hell forever and ever and ever and ever without end. And now I see, for every one verse that seems to say that, you got 20 or 30 or 40 verses that say the exact opposite. And so there's a reconciliation between these two concepts. Now, I say this by way of how traumatic it is when you believe that you have certainty, you cling to something, and you assume it. So much of your doctrine is wrapped up in this one idea. When you find out that that's wrong, it's a very humbling experience, humiliating even, especially, you know, arguing for years and years and doing quite a good job at it, if I do say so myself, to find out that I even then I was wrong. It makes me question a lot of stuff. It makes me question my approach. It makes me question my epistemology. And I think that if we did more of that, we'd have less of those humiliating moments and more of those humbling moments where we actually build towards something rather than just, believe things that just are rubbish and we don't even know. Anyway, kind of fizzled on that one. What you think, Haley?
Well, I don't know. I've heard you. I'm surprised to hear you talk about universalism.
Most people are.
It's very different from how you used to approach your method of attack.
I'd like to think I've mellowed out.
What?
I'd like to think I've mellowed out.
Yeah, you have. I'm impressed.
Well, like I said, it's those humbling moments that make all the difference in the world. It's just, I don't know. I can't really explain everything about what's brought me to where I'm at without saying that there's a huge level of mystery to it, and there should be. Anyone who tries to convince you that they're always on the right track, I'm telling you, if you don't recognize that you've made some wrong turns, chances are that's all you're making is wrong turns. Haley's gone, huh?
I found a sensory, half-an-hour sensory show for infants for her to watch, so I set the
Oh.
laptop up on the couch for her.
Well, apparently Haley's out of the show, and everyone's having a hard time getting in for some reason. I don't know. I can't stop the broadcast because then that'll stop recording. But I'll just try to invite everyone again. Because that says Michael Alfred left group chat because he keeps trying to log in.
Oh, I've logged in.
Yeah, you're still there.
Hello?
Yeah, what happened?
I don't know. My Wi-Fi cut out.
Oh, that happens. That's probably what Michael Alfred's problem is that he's I think that the broadcast Hangouts work differently because I find that people more consistently get added in when I just use their Gmail address as opposed to adding them from my circles.
Oh.
So Justin's trying to get in right now, so he should. There's the hairy caveman.
What's up? Joel's in here.
Oh, wow, you are on the bus.
It's super noisy.
Yeah, it's okay though. We can put up with it.
I'll mute my mic whenever I'm not talking.
Okay.
I can see. I don't see the icon for it. So.
And make sure that you're relatively close to your phone when you speak because the ambient noise kind of. So Haley just told a very, very brief thing of why she's an atheist. Basically, that religion doesn't. It's nothing that we're not familiar with, so you didn't miss anything.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so what's your deal? Why are you dumb enough to be a Christian?
Oh man, I thought I was going to start the root in my epistemology there, not like
Yeah, okay, then start with that.
touchdown. Let me think here. I wonder if this is a good time to do it. Is it? How noisy is it? Is it bad?
Go. No, you're fine.
Okay. Oh god, I was thinking it through this morning. I'm trying to think back to the very start. Basically, okay. So I started with epistemic doubt, right? Kind of like Descartes. But basically, he doubted everything. Like he thought maybe even possibly the evil demon was creating his surroundings and everything, or it could all be an illusion. So that's where I started out at, and he ended at, I think, therefore I am. I went even further. Well, I could be a brain of that. It could all be computer simulation. It could all be God's imagining it, and we're not really real. That last point is thought that I am some super being, or let me start over. There's some super being that is imagining me, and I'm not even a puppet. I'm kind of like an echo rebounding off the cliff faces of reality with no will of my own. Regardless, there are experiences that are happening. Now notice I didn't say my experiences. Hello? Can you hear me?
Yep.
I didn't realize I was muted. Go back like 15, 20 seconds. We couldn't hear you when the bus was talking.
Oh, shit. Okay. What's the last thing you heard?
Descartes. You were basically stripping away everything, seeing what you could know.
Okay. So basically, I don't know. Maybe we should do this some other next time, because this is like I'm very worried about this everything cutting out and stuff. But I guess I'll try again. So anyway, I went even further than Descartes when he said, "I think, therefore I am." And in there, I thought maybe, is it possible that there is some super being that's not actually me, but is imagining me, and therefore I'm like rebounding up the cliff face of reality with no will of my own. And so I thought, well, even if that's true, experiences are still happening. So there's an experience, a subjective quality going, even if it's not my experience. Now, and of course, I think that avenue is absurd now, but at the time, it was just a hypothetical.
Next stop,
but anyway,
Findlay Street.
So when I came to this point, I realized subjectivity is undeniable, and also this is where the empiricism and the a priori came together as one, because I realized that consciousness is a direct experience of mine, but then it's also the realm of the a priori, where math is true, consciousness, like subjectivity, is a real thing, and it's all rooted in that oneness of the I am. And so then I started wondering, well, what's the difference between real and non-real? And so I was like, well, any definition you can provide would ultimately collapse into experiences, right? So even if you had said, well, the dream is phenomenally different than everyday waking reality, you would still be defining it in terms of experiences. You said, well, only the scientifically testable is real, but you're still relying on empiricism, which is derived from experiments or data from your environment, and that ultimately collapses into your experiential. So then I thought, well, what's the difference? How can you tell what is real and what's not real, and what's the defining characteristic? And then I realized, well, there really isn't one essentially, fundamentally. And so that's actually what led me to be a modal realist. For those who don't know what modal realism is, it means you believe that all possible worlds are real world, actual worlds. And so kind of my thought, and this kind of came out of a book I was reading too, is that any
Alaska Street and California Avenue, Southwest Alaska Junction.
Hold on.
So,
Huh? Hold on.
Okay.
Go back like 10 seconds.
Okay. What's the last thing you heard? Okay, I'll just say saying. Okay, so I was trying to figure out what was the defining characteristic of the real versus the non-real, right? And it ultimately collapses into some experiential thing. And so, so this is what kind of led me to modal realism, which is the idea that all possible worlds are actual worlds. And so it's kind of like, and I was kind of reading this idea in a book too, is that any daydream you're having or whatever is like a perception of another world. I don't think so now, but that's kind of where I was at. And let's see. I guess my thought was there's also an aspect of agency to world. Now, okay, here's the other thing. I realized that even if I do something, like even if I generate an active will. That is still an experience. So, not that the two aspects of one, I guess ultimately you can say they're one, but not that they're necessarily, not that it's not helpful to distinguish those two. Create an active will from an experience on some level. So then
Next stop,
where was I going with
on
that?
the road
Okay, so
way
now my thought
southwest.
is that in a sense we can create through an active will, we can create daydreams and dreams and stuff like that, but it's still an experience. And so then here's the last aspect of this is that this is why I don't think you can outsource reality to other something else like the that thing. It's not whatever you're experiencing is real as an experience. So there's nothing to differentiate anything from that. And ultimately, you know, whether it's science or what have you, or kind of just your own experiential definition, it collapses back to an experience. And here's the other aspect of this: even if you're using the a priori, that's you're experiencing your own thoughts. So that's what it all comes back down to, or at least it cannot be separated out from that. And this is kind of the angle I was looking for. And so, while a higher reality might be more explanatory for what you're experiencing, it's no matter what, you can still say I'm thinking this or I'm dreaming this, and that is real as an experience. So that's kind of where I landed in my epistemology and my ontology. Those two blended into one as well, and so that's kind of the base root where I'm coming from. And I think I'll leave it there for right now because that's kind of what I want to establish.
35th Avenue Southwest and Southwest Avalon Way.
And I can go further in another hangout.
Yeah, that's a real good place. Oh, go ahead.
I'm ready to take questions.
Yeah, it's a really good place to start. I've had similar experiences and stuff, but I talked about that a lot in the last hangout, so I'm not going to do that again too much unless people need to hear it. But I like that you're willing to try different ideas that sound really wacky. I can't remember.
Yeah.
I think that it's Dietrich Bonhoeffer, but I could be wrong because Chuck Missler used to. Whoa, what was that? Anyway, I could be wrong.
Sorry.
All right. I think it's Dietrich Bonhoeffer who said that the only way to be sure to be kept in ignorance is to reject an idea before hearing it or weighing it. And that's a bad paraphrase, but and I really believe that is when you just. Sorry, go ahead.
Say again. I couldn't hear.
The surest way. The surest way to keep oneself in ignorance is to reject an idea before having heard it, weighed it, and argued it.
Right.
And that's why my epistemology is rather skeptical, but I wouldn't call myself a skeptic. I just, how do I say it? I do want to give everything a fair hearing. Like even that wackiness of John Crowder. You know, he's crazy. Oing, 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 oing. You know what I'm talking about. Oing, oing, oing. And but even I sit and I think, well, what if you know what
Southwest
really talking to him? I mean, the Bible does say that it's foolishness to the natural man. You know, but I still think he's wacky. But you never know. I gotta remain in doubt.
Hey, just like.
Yep.
Yeah. Hey, Haley, could you mute your mic or something? Because it kept switching between you and Eric, and like I couldn't hear him in spots.
Oh, what's going on?
You were fiddling
cool.
around and it was making noise.
Oh, I was just saying, when you're not talking, could you mute your mic? Because it was switching between you and Eric, and like I couldn't hear him in spots.
Okay.
Mm. So yeah, I mean.
Thanks.
So I guess one question I would have for you is, I mean, you're working these ideas through in your head, and it seems obvious that you're really looking for lots of consistency. You're looking to make sure that there's integrity to the ideas, and that's where some ideas get dismissed when they show themselves to be logically inconsistent or contradictory with something that's another a priori of yours. But I mean, the real vibe of the last show was that a lot of time this stuff is not intuitive and recognized or willing to admit. Would you say that?
I was having a hard time hearing you.
What I was saying
Sorry.
is, I would say that these things, it seems like a lot of it comes not from hearing ideas from elsewhere necessarily, or for any logical necessity of a deduction, but a lot of it comes down to inspiration almost, where it's just intuition, and you test it afterwards, but the genesis of it seems to be rather intuitive.
Right. Oh yeah, that's part of what was. Huh?
So how much?
That was part of what was so important.
Okay.
I think there's a lag because you stopped. Okay. How much is that factor you're asking?
I was asking.
Okay. Basically, that was what.
You go ahead.
Okay. I'm just gonna go. Okay. That was part of what was so important to this approach is that it grounds not only the sensory intuition and a priori thoughts and everything all together as one, and so it is very intuitive, but it's also logical, so that it all kind of blends as one at the root. So you can pursue one avenue at a time. Okay, here's what I was going to say too, is that I believe the pathway to truth, or to ultimate reality, is the good, the true, and the beautiful. So you have the true, and that's what people today a lot of times focus on. And they say if you kind of come to an idea or hold an idea because it's appealing to you, then that's just wishful thinking. But the problem here is in assuming that there's only one. It's kind of like I see a highway, but there's 3 lanes, and you're seeing only one lane. And the problem is no one holds to an idea simply because it's logical. Or like verifiable. That's what we tell ourselves. But ultimately, everyone has some kind of bias or this reason, or kind of it comes back to. And if you, like you guys were exploring last time, and this is true for everyone. If you trace it back down, when they finally changed their beliefs, they may have had some reason, but usually, I mean, there's always some kind of experiential aspect to it, or some emotional aspect to it, there are some there say, well, I kind of reason myself out of it purely. That's supplemental, even in that case. So, what I'm trying to say here is that, well, let's say even the search for truth itself is that's an honest emotional search. But there's still that grounding in intrinsic motivation.
All right, I think we lost Justin. I think it's the Wi-Fi and the bus. So I don't know how much of that all of you got. Hold on, Justin. You're having a real hard time. We lost you for about 15, 20 seconds there. So I can. I mean, I was piecing together what you were saying because we've been in enough conversations that I kind of get it. But basically, you're talking about piecing things together bit by bit and taking all of these different, I'll call them authorities. The authority of your emotion, the authority of your emotion, the authority of your logical faculties, the authority of others' testimony. Taking all of these things and trying to put them in their right place. Am I right? And I remember what C.S. Lewis said when he said the will can, or the will and the intellect can and must precede the emotion. And I believe that. That's very true. Our emotions inform us. But when it's our intellect informing our emotions, I believe that's when rationalization's taking place. Would you agree?
Yeah.
I didn't quite catch that.
Yeah.
You might have an easier time if
and,
you take the video off and just do audio.
that's why I think they have to operate. Yeah, that's true.
There you go.
Can you turn off my video? Or? Okay.
There you go. Yeah.
Let me know if this is better.
Yes. It's
He's not trying to do video and stuff too. Okay, cool. Okay. So what I was saying was that that's why I think they should be blended together as one, or not separated. So what I was getting at before is that even in search for truth, it's just out of the sake of wanting to know what the truth is. There's a subjective motivation to do that, and so it's because the truth that as truth appeals to you, right? So it's always at least twofold there, and so what I was getting at was this. Then you can ask, why is this? So that the true and the beautiful seem to be like the case. We want things to be true. We also want something that appeals to us, and we also want
Next
to know that
Santa Fe Street Television. Midtown.
why
Yeah, you cut out again pretty hard.
Seattle Art Museum.
is it not just that things are.
Justin,
Go.
you're cutting out pretty bad. Alrighty. Gotta love public utilities. So I think we're gonna have to wait till Justin actually gets to his destination before he can have a stable spot. That's been my experience with the Wi-Fi on most buses. It just doesn't really, it's not consistent enough. I believe it works off of cell towers or something. But so to kind of go down what Justin was saying, and I like that the idea that that you're not separating these things, and that's kind of where I was heading with it too, to be honest with you. That even though the different aspects have priorities, I would say that they're all aspects of consciousness. And the analogy that I've given for my view of consciousness is the iceberg. Everything that we think is our consciousness, everything that we're familiar with as consciousness on a day-to-day basis is just the tip of the iceberg. Even our subconscious, still that tip of the iceberg. Our being, our consciousness, who we are, our nature is vastly bigger than what we realize. Our experience, our knowledge. I think it was, I'm not sure if it was Aquinas, but I believe that learning, when it comes to absolute truth, is more of a process of remembering and unlearning the untruths that have layered themselves on top of the truth through a lifetime of discourse and learning and all that stuff. So I think, and I guess this is kind of Buddhist / Hindu, again with that influence on me, that it really is more about, it's more about that trying to find that part of yourself that you don't even really know is there. And because I think that like a lot of what we've layered on top of that isn't really. So, hey, Anna's with us. What's going on, Anna? Can you hear me? Anna? Anna Marie.
Yes. Can you hear me?
Oh, now I can.
Oh, okay. Wasn't sure. These headphones, they got have a little microphone on it, so I
Oh,
wasn't sure if they would work.
yeah. That's always cool. Oh, getting a message. I completely lagged down to a complete stop. Yeah, Justin doesn't realize it's his connection. I got Roadrunner Turbo here or something equivalent. So Anna, have you been able to catch any of the conversation thus far?
No clue.
Oh, you had a hard time getting in, huh?
No, not really. Just me trying to sift through all the junk that's sitting around me.
Oh yeah, yeah. I like added you like 4 or 5 times. I kind of.
Well, no, I'm on. I just, you know what it is? Every time I clicked over to check Facebook again, it apparently logs me out whenever I switch pages.
Oh, that's weird.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to do this if that was the way because, oh wow, people keep messaging me. See, that's one of the hard things about doing a show like this. It's like I'm trying to get people in and talk to them on the side, and at the same time being,
Station.
you know,
Monorail.
Justin.
Place marked.
Well, yeah, I'm just saying,
Avenue.
leave it to next time, and then I'll flush it all out then.
All right. I mean, when you get to how long to your destination?
Oh, it's gonna be like close to, well, your time close to 10:30.
You spent a lot of time on the bus, huh? You still there? Yeah. Well, at least Justin got to get some of his stuff out there. Basically,
Fight Street. Place market at First and Fight.
Okay, now I'm hearing it.
College Station, like
So basically, what
right airport, and
before,
now Rapid Ride D. Next stop is
there we go. What Justin was saying before was that there's so much more that informs us to what we believe, and it's all part of one big thing. And I was elaborating on that, basically saying that it's like our consciousness is like an iceberg. I've said this again. That our consciousness, everything we think is our consciousness, is just that tip that's above the water, and that the real tip above the water, the real iceberg is the real consciousness, is most of what's below the water that we don't even see. And I think we forget that, and we don't even know it. But I don't know. What do you think, Anna?
Man, it's not. Wow. I only woke up like 45 minutes, hour ago.
I know.
Let me warm up.
All right.
Lucky that you're seeing my face.
Well, how about you tell us a little bit about your journey and what's brought you to your conclusions and why you believe what you believe.
Well, I believe what I believe because I can't help it.
Because
Sometimes I wish it would go away. Because it's very, yeah, I don't know.
Well, I know it's something that you've put a lot of thought to in the past. I mean, you obviously had a lot of religious influences in your life.
Very.
Yeah. Well, I'll let you warm up. I think seeing you smoke a cigarette is really driving me nuts. So I'm gonna go out and have a quick smoke, and you guys can talk amongst yourselves. By the way, Justin, the only reason I muted you for a second so loud that nobody else could. So I hope you didn't think I was just trying to shut you up. But.
Sorry, I was trying to catch the bus. What did you say? I was running, trying to catch the bus.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I'm going to step out for a cigarette for a minute, so you guys can talk amongst yourselves. You and Anna have never talked before, so this should be pretty interesting.
Anna, how's it going?
All right. I'll be back in a few.
I saw a video of you finally recently. Oh, that was pretty cool. Wait, where? I don't think I'm seeing everyone. Let's see. I'm going to scroll. Who all is on? Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Hi. And is that you on George's account?
Yeah. Yeah. That's
Okay,
me.
cool. I think your picture's so tiny, wasn't sure. How's it going? So
Yeah,
it's you?
I don't know what the hell to
I don't know.
say.
Hi. I don't know if it's Michelle on her account or if that's Eric logging in from someone else. Anyway, Haley, and who's the other? Oh wait, no. Okay, wait. Eric, there's one more.
What? I'm
Hello?
here. What? I was just going out for a cigarette. What's up?
Oh, no. I was naming off who. Oh wait, okay, yeah. Haley
Never mind.
and Michelle's on. Well, whatever. Anyway, let me expand on what I was saying. I think I'm getting a certain connection here. It's a few minutes before the next bus comes. So, wow, I'm surprised. I thought my data plan and run out of broad bandwidth here, but it's doing pretty good here. Anyway, what I was saying was that there's a threefold path to reality, right? Ultimate to knowledge. Truth from the rest.
Breaking up.
Justin, you sound like a UFO.
Huh?
Sound like a UFO trying to land.
Okay, I'm just gonna forget it. You guys can chat. I thought there's more people in here. Maybe Matt.
We'll be here when you get back.
Yes. All the vehicles going by. Run away. I know. I have an idea when the bus is gonna come. As you can tell, I'm always on the move. Anyway, okay, tell me the connection. I'm checking out the show. I wish it were me. Hooray, hooray. So, what's like over there? Here's an alley. But alley closed. General public.
Justin, I can't understand you.
Go. I understand.
Is he trying to do his Scooby-Doo impression again, Shaggy? You trying to do Shaggy? Yeah, you look the part, dude.
What'd you say?
I said you look the part. Hey, did you guys see my shirt?
No, no
I've seen
job, no. But I am a.
Can't see your shirt, Eric.
It says no job, no money, no car, but I'm in a band. Only I'm not.
Nice.
So you.
Yeah. My grandmother got this shirt for me about 10 years ago. She was trying to... So, Anna, how much would you say that your feelings guide what you try to do? Is it a logical process? Is it strictly rational? Or do you think that it comes from a deeper place where you just are drawn?
One more time.
Well, what I'm asking is it's all about your feelings versus your intellect. What would you say is the most common influence on what you choose to believe?
I definitely would say feelings, upbringing. I mean, honestly, I could say definitely probably would believe what I did. If it weren't for my upbringing and what I learned and stuff. I mean, I suppose at some point a lot of people will reject it, and it's stuck with me, so it won't go away. As hard as I've tried to just ditch it, forget about it, and get high, it won't go away. So it's like, damn it, I guess I gotta go for it. Something's got to be real about it because it won't go away. Damn it! And that sounds kind of, screwy, but that's really how it is.
I think most genuine Christians would probably echo that. Agree. I think all of us have tried to hide from God and found His presence to pretty much be everywhere.
Yeah, that's a big way to put it.
And,
Never being comfortable, just like a bottom line place, always wanting more, regardless of the fact that I can't seem to get where I think I want to be. I don't know. I see I'm not good at talking.
yeah, I can hear.
Very, very, very out of my comfort zone. Very.
Well, that's cool. That's always a good place to be.
But,
I like your voice.
say hi.
Oh, you should hear her sing. She has a beautiful voice.
Hi.
Yeah, one of the biggest problems for me, now, when I was younger, I used to always just try to figure stuff out. When I was a kid, a lot of thought, a lot of effort in just trying to understand how could bugs walk? Why is the sky blue? I wasn't that typical kid that accepted answers that didn't make any sense. When people
I was that way when I was like 8 years old.
Yeah, I remember maybe 4 or 5 years old when someone told me that thunder was God playing a game of bowling up in heaven. My response to that was, but there's no ground up there to stand on. It's all water vapor floating in air in the atmosphere, and the atmosphere only goes up for like 100 miles. I was into science at a very, very early age.
It's Thor, obviously.
or Zeus. But yeah, I remember wrestling with stuff like that, and you know what? I think one of the pivotal moments for me as a child was when I asked myself one of the deepest questions a person can ask themselves, and I had no idea that it's deep because I had no idea how deeply shallow most people are. But I asked myself this question: what if what I interpret? Okay, well, actually, let me just say it the way I said it in my head back then. What if what's hot for me is really cold for somebody else?
Mm-hmm.
Now, to reframe that, it's really the question. It has a lot to do with the hard problem, and that is the problem of experience. How do I know my interpretation of my experience feels the same way? I'm not trying to say that a person can feel something cold and think that it's on fire, though that can happen if it's cold enough, but that's for different reasons. What I'm saying is that tactile sensation that I interpret as cold, perhaps another person's brain is wired in a way that that's how they feel when they're burning. And when they're burning, it actually feels like they're freezing. Or another way to word this, what if what I experience as yellow is actually, if I was looking at it through their eyes, it would look blue to me. But they've learned to call it yellow because to them yellow is in fact blue. I mean, there's many different forms of this question, but I guess really what it comes down to is I was having an existential crisis before I had even started preschool. And I think that's such a good thing because existential crises are what sparks all the great epistemologies of the past. That's what spurred Descartes on. That's what spurred Plato on. That's what spurred John Locke and David Hume and Immanuel Kant. All of these giants of philosophy, all comes back down to them wrestling with their own place in the universe, why they feel what they feel, how to explain it. And I think that I got a little leg up on a lot of people because those thoughts were in my head at a very early age. And so fast forward a bit, of course, much like Anna said, I had a lot of religious influences growing up, and they weren't always monolithic, though. I think that some of my family were Catholic, some were Baptist, most were nominal, but some were very devout. My uncle and my grandfather were very biblically literate, whereas my other grandfather and my father were spiritual, but they didn't really have much use for the Bible itself. And so all of these different influences with no one genuinely guiding me, no one's really instructing me. I am truly the epitome of a self-made man, and I didn't really do that great with it, to be honest with you. But as far as thoughts goes, I think that I've had a little more practice than a lot of people because I've had so much time of solitude, and I don't like talking about the weather. I don't like talking about sports so much. I don't like talking about even politics seems shallow to me sometimes. I really want to understand what is real and what the nature of the real is. I want to understand how I'm real and what my reality means to the rest of reality. Am I the only thing that's real? I spent a lot of time in my childhood, and I do attribute this directly to the vast amounts of solitude that I had, which was not healthy at all. I spent a lot of my childhood believing that I was the only thing that was real and that everything else was just my imagination, that I built my world around me. Basically, I thought that I was God. Though that there was this other. There was this other that was constantly impressing upon me. Oh boy, the epistemologist is in the house. Matthew Lewis! What's going on, buddy?
Can I say something?
Oh, not much.
Just bringing up what you said. It reminds me of when I was a kid. I would be like, dude, what if everyone else is like this supernatural being, and they're like all rich and everything, and they're finding truth on me, and they're like, me? Oh crap! And I can't prove this fast. And if I just say no because they trick me still, or maybe they'll say yes and give up the game. And like,
Hey, Justin, are you
not really?
Are you talking in
I just went in this loop and it was like ridiculous. It's all everybody.
I'm trying here.
All right, sorry about that. That was a big snafu. Justin, you're about as disjointed as it gets. I cannot understand a single word out of your mouth. I apologize. And that big echoing thing was Michelle logging back in. The phone's stupid and doesn't let her come in muted, so we get some feedback first. So, moving on. I hope, Justin, that you keep hold of that thought, or you can type it out in the chat if you want, and I can respond to it that way. Remember, that's always an option as well. Matthew, you were saying something in your entrance?
Oh, I was just saying I finished with dinner. So here I am.
It looked very yummy, by the way. I didn't get a chance to like it yet, but it looks very yummy.
I haven't put it on my profile just yet. But
I did it in private message.
Oh yes, did that.
So everyone else here is pretty much given a brief spiel. Justin's given us quite a bit of his beginning because, of course, he's had a real sophisticated framework to his approach to knowing, and so it's really unfair to expect him to be able to articulate that in a 5-minute spiel. So we'll develop it more and more, especially when he gets a better connection and we can hear him better. But you have the floor, Matthew. Why are you stupid enough to be a Christian?
Now, what was the question? I was elsewhere.
It's a loaded question. It's basically it's why do you believe what you believe? What brought you there? I was being facetious. Of course, I don't think it's stupid to be a Christian.
Oh, well.
But that's what most people think.
I suppose the question would begin, why am I a theist?
Yes.
That comes down to, well, two basic axioms that can be, expressed in various cognate ways. Axiom 1, there is being, and axiom 2, which I got from my good friend Justin Fowler, experience happens. And so, I trail on that way, get eventually to classical theism, and then the rest is where philosophy touches history, and that's in Christianity, which makes sense to me, at least logically, and makes sense to me historically and theologically. It's also very beautiful. I find too much beauty in it to go with something else.
Yeah, Justin was kind of echoing that too, what he was saying. A lot of it is the aesthetic appeal and how it's just too beautiful not to be true. Is that accurate, Justin? Justin's not responding. That's okay. So where's your original, what's your experience? Lead us through your thinking, like those moments where, on this sunny day I looked up and I saw the bird flying just this way and it made me think that. I mean, what is it? It seems like...
My Damascus Road experience?
Yeah, I guess. I'm very clumsy in trying to frame the question, I know. I'm looking for, some personal stuff.
Oh, yeah. Let's see. I feel a little bit like N.T. Wright answering this question. It's like I didn't quite have a Damascus Road experience. I just kind of... I suppose the earliest memories I have of Christianity in general as, yes, this is what I'm about. This is where I'm going, was when I was 7, 8. That chunk of life, anyway. Bit of a noise somewhere. Anyway, there was a chunk of life.
Anna?
Yeah.
Can you mute your mic while he's talking? Yeah, it's up at the top. Yeah, it's up at the top of the screen. It's that little microphone with the slash through it. If you just click that.
Okay.
Yeah, because we're getting a lot of background noise.
Let me see. There it is. Okay.
All right, go ahead, Matthew.
All right. Thank you, by the way. Sorry about that. The earliest memories I have, I think, are around 5, 6, 7, 8. That chunk of life. I mean, young childhood, and I had an Encarta 95 CD. Might have been 98. It was one of those. It was pre-Wikipedia days, and they had sound samples, like for music and such. And I also had a set of encyclopedias. And I would look and I would listen at all the stuff from ancient Christianity and the medieval era and all of that. So my first experiences with Christianity on my own, like as Christianity, were the iconography, the Latin music, some of the Greek music, all of that. It was very beautiful. It shaped me, from the beginning.
You didn't have a lot of that influence from your family.
No, not from my family. My family is a bit of a split between a very liberal, demi-Aryan kind of father and a very hardline Protestant background from my mother, like their mother's side, along with other various eclectic things going on there. It was kind of growing up in a battlefield where I would listen to my papa and my mama and my mother's side of things, you must be baptized to be saved, etc., etc. and my dad on his side of things, and it was like, well, we're kind of like nominal Methodists. And here I am in the, a child listening to every kind of Ave Maria that I can find. And reading encyclopedias because I'm little and I'm bored. So there we go.
I was one of those weirdos that I actually enjoyed church when I was little. I loved singing.
I never went to church was the thing. I never went. I wanted to go, but I couldn't walk there. It was the thing. So I grew up unchurched, ironically.
Yeah, I grew up church sporadically. It was never a regular thing, but whenever my grandpa was in town, anytime he was in town on a Sunday, we'd be going, and it's that old-time religion. The stomping feet and clapping hands. None of the dancing down the aisles, though. They didn't go with that. They weren't Pentecostals or nothing. Just regular Baptists, Bible Baptists, they call themselves.
Like the Alvin York movie.
Yeah, I'm not really familiar with that.
Oh, I forget the name of it, but it's like that old black and white.
Yeah, it's just everything that you see that you think of as Southern Baptists. The King James version is the only Word of God, and
that old time religion.
Yeah,
old time religion.
I'll fly away theology. Oh, so I mean,
some of those songs are really good, I have to admit.
Yeah, and I still like playing them to this day, especially because they have such good theology in them. And
right.
Don't try to tell a dispensationalist this, because there ain't nothing about dispensationalism in all those old hymns.
Well, a lot of those old hymns were made before that theology came around. So.
Yes, exactly, and that's what a lot of people don't realize about dispensationalism, is it really is a Johnny-come-lately. I have a hard time thinking that in 1,800 years of church history that we just finally got it right now. That doesn't seem to make sense to me.
A lot of pop theology thinks more or less that it's always been around.
Yeah, and I myself, I try to avoid anachronism like that. I've been trying to get back to the patristics an awful lot. Unfortunately, it's veiled by so much history. Because the winners of the wars are the ones that write history.
Right.
So it's very difficult to sort through it, especially when you come at it from a universalist perspective and you realize that all of these people labeled as heretics were silenced, and that's why we have no testimony from them. But even amidst that act of silencing, we find that some made it through, and I take that as an encouragement. But I don't want to take too much.
One I have been wanting to look at is Gregory of Nyssa. I think it's Nyssa.
Yeah, didn't he have a part in writing the Apostles' Creed? Or the Nicene Creed?
Athanasius wrote one of the creeds, I think. I don't know if Nyssa did.
I'm almost certain of this.
He may well have. Yeah, I've been trying to get into the Church Fathers, but it's a bit like trying to get into Thomas Aquinas. For me, it's like, okay, I have so many hours in the day. I can devote time to the Church Fathers, Aquinas, or eating.
Yeah.
And I think this may have been what introduced the practice and discipline of fasting. It wasn't actually spiritual, it was practical. They figured out, okay, I'll just stop eating. Then I'll have more time.
I guess that's one way to look at it. But I don't know. I see I always liked Aquinas in the back of my heart, but at the same time felt that he was rather dangerous because of how open he was. I mean, I think there's some things that you need to be dogmatic about, but I think the more I look at Thomism, the more it almost describes my epistemological approach.
Oh yeah, like my good friend Matt, another Matt, which I can't really pronounce his name. I think it's McTeague.
Yeah, I know.
Well, when he introduced Thomas Aquinas, like I knew about Thomas Aquinas, but I never had the directions of where to go to look for resources to crack open Thomas Aquinas.
Right. For everyone else involved, Thomism and Thomas Aquinas' basic idea was that all truth is God's truth, and so To say that it's just the Bible alone for him would be, well, the Bible's true, but there's a lot more truth out there, and God's giving it to us liberally. It's almost tantamount to sin to reject it. So he got a lot of ideas from paganism, especially from Aristotle, I believe was his
Oh
primary.
yeah, he was very Aristotelian. He in the Western tradition, from what I've been able to see, he's kind of like the grand synthesis of all of it. I mean,
Mm.
it is an entire system unto itself. It became some philosophers you can look through and read, their work, and then okay, there is this system, and it's like almost a subset discipline. Thomism is its own category.
Yeah, because what I really appreciated, and this is, you guys have heard, I mean, you guys have known me long enough now, 3-4 years, that you've seen a definite progression. I'm anything but
Oh,
static.
yes.
I'm always trying to grow. I'm always trying to address. I mean, I always reevaluate things that I've settled, because I think that's one of our biggest enemies is when we're so set in something that we can't see how perhaps subtle errors within it are affecting newer ideas that we're being introduced to. Again, I'm very clumsy with my words when I talk about this stuff, because so much of it is not worded in my head.
Mm-hmm.
I've touched upon how I think and how my thoughts run. And if I had to put any kind of imagery to it, that's exactly what it would be. It would be pictures. But
Okay,
even
just
that,
a moment. I'll be right back real quick. Sorry about that.
no, it's okay. It would be mainly pictures. But even then, I think most of my thoughts are just that, just thought. And this goes back to how shallow we've become as a people and as individuals, that we always have to have words to our thoughts, that we always have to have pictures to our thoughts, or smells or sounds, or some kind of sensational attachment to our thoughts, when perhaps maybe there's a lot of thinking going on that flies under the radar that's really influencing our actions, but we're not able to address it because we can't put a picture to it. And I think that if there's anything that gives me a leg up on some people in debate and in epistemology, is I do not need to label my thoughts. I do not need to define them. I can just experience them as they are and see how they work out to my greater discourse, and how it informs already articulated ideas that have had words put to them. But ultimately speaking, I think, like we in that chat that Justin had about his spiritual experience, I've always felt like music is more effective at conveying an idea than mere words alone, or poetry, or even paintings, or just all kinds of stuff. But all right, you saying you're bowing out for a bit, Matthew?
Yeah, I need to do an errand.
Okay, that's cool. I think we could all take a break for like 5 minutes. There's a couple of things that I got to take care of right now, and we're about a little more than an hour into it, and we finally have a good lineup. So we'll say 5-10 minutes. We'll come back at this, and you guys can talk amongst yourselves so much as you feel like it. But about 5-10 minutes, we'll come back, and we'll try to get to growing. Sound good?
Sounds good. Have a good day.
Have a good day.
it in your head.
So what would you guys think of that being the theme song for this stupid show? Is anyone still there? Okay, now they're talking about peeing in the sink in the chat. Yep, that's what I get for inviting Haley. Cool thing is, I bet she doesn't even hear me. Yeah, just for our listeners. Oh, you can hear me now?
Yes.
For our listening audience, Haley has a obsession. I think that for her, that's like her way of shaking somebody's hand. If they let her pee in their sink, then they must be a good friend.
It's on.
So yeah, you guys can feel free to message anyone you want that you would think would join in here. It's funny that Daniela and Josiah aren't here because I believe they were two of the ones that were wanting it to be in the middle of the week and early in the day. Hopefully Drew will still show up sometime soon. He's officially out of his teaching job, so he can't even come back with a good comment to that. It's so easy not to pay attention to the chat while I'm doing it. I'll get rid of the YouTube thing. But so anyway, what do you think of having that as the theme song for the show?
Do it again.
What? Oh, you didn't hear it? I'll just go to the chorus.
That was a bad idea. Nope.
Hey, see, to me, that's kind of like what all of these different groups that I do on Facebook and like these chats and stuff like that. My goal is to get people to think for themselves, to actually give a shit about what, I mean, how you see reality kind of matters, especially when it comes to relationship, because I firmly believe there's nothing more important in life than the relationships that we have with one another. And I think that part of that is our intellectual discourse. And we can agree to disagree. We don't have to be of the same opinion to be of the same mindset, I guess, where, I mean, look, in Greece, I'm aware of only one instance of someone being shut up for their philosophy, and that was Socrates, because he was called a corrupter of the youth. But it seemed like there was a lot of divergent opinion there, and they were all buddies. And I don't see any reason why that can't be. But we got to engage this shit. We got to benefit one another. I think that's how we serve one another, is reflecting our ideas off of one another. And by that, we incorporate one another's truths, so our own corpus of truth is that much greater, which more empowers us to find greater truth. It's just all about truth, and I love that in, well, relationship. That's my spiel. Thoughts, comments, opinions? Anybody?
There's not a whole lot of people on
Bueller. You've seen Ferris Bueller's Day Off, haven't you?
Once.
What's wrong with you? You gotta see that movie like 10 times. I've seen it at least 10 times. Still have. Go ahead.
Nothing. What?
I was just gonna say I still have images of the car jumping over that hill running through my brain. Oh, Justin's telling me to put my video on. My video is on. Wait, when did he send this? Ah, I hate, these chats are interesting and everything, but like not quite like AOL chat. And now, okay, get this. These two guys, I don't think you're familiar with either of them. Osa McDonald and Chase Dart. These two guys are like on a crusade against Christian universalism. And this one girl has been trying to get me and them in a debate together because she's liked a lot of stuff that I have to say. And they refused. I can't imagine it would go any better than our threads on Facebook. I mean, if I mop the floor with them there, I mean, when I have my voice and can think on my toes and don't have to sit there and type, oh yeah, I guarantee you I would very much win the day. So now they're trying to get me to debate Matt Slick. And I keep telling them, Matt Slick is not going to debate me. This guy is like one of the most prominent apologists in the world. He runs CARM, C-A-R-M. That's the apologetics web page. It's like the go-to resource for most Christian ministries and stuff. I mean, this guy is, he's not just small fries. Why the hell would he waste his time with some idiot from Brunswick, Maine like me? So, but they won't stop. They're like, oh, come on, just message him, ask him. It's like, all right, whatever. Matt Slick's pretty smart, but I've seen his argumentation in the issue, and it's really hollow. It's a really shallow hermeneutic, and I'm really confident that I can expose how not only shallow it is, but how inconsistent it is. But,
Well, if he's from the apologetics page, I'm not that surprised. I've been kicked out of that page twice now.
yeah. He's probably one of the ones. He's a lot involved in a lot of Facebook groups, and he has his little watchdogs that he puts in charge. And
What's his name?
Matt Slick.
Okay.
Doesn't that name make him even sound like kind of a jerk?
Douchebag?
Yeah. I was trying to be a little polite, but yeah, he's not a nice guy. He's really not, and maybe he might come off differently in person or whatnot, but I mean, he's really harsh with people, and I think for no good reason. To me, that betrays a person's insecurity in their own beliefs. When someone gets defensive, when they get insulting and all ad hominem and stuff, I really think that shows that they know that they have a weak epistemology. They still believe what they believe, but they realize that their reasoning is kind of flimsy, and they're not going to budge on it. So they're just going to get defensive.
Right. There's a difference between being lovingly blunt like me,
or like me.
Or like you. Yeah, definitely you. And then there's being a douche nozzle.
Yeah, exactly. And, Matthew's been plenty blunt plenty of times. I've seen Justin rip some shit up sometimes.
Oh, but they're sweethearts. They're okay.
Yeah. Well, Justin's the biggest teddy bear in the world. I've still yet to figure out a way to piss him off. Though Drew apparently has, which I don't know. Let me see if I can get Drew on here. I'll look for him. That'd be interesting, especially if I could get Justin back, too.
Drew's pissed everyone off.
What's that?
Drew has pissed everyone off.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I won't tell you exactly how our first conversation went because I got rather vulgar with him. And,
Yes, did I. I remember my first conversation with him.
Well, he just comes in guns a-blazing, what does he expect? Oh, man. I hate that I can't move chat windows around. What is his Gmail? Wait, I think I already have him on my Google Plus account. Yeah, Drew's like the biggest internet geek in the world. He's like on everything. I mean, he's a B-tard like you don't even know. He spent more time in 4chan than your average China kid.
Oh, gosh.
Drew Bowers. Damn it, I thought he was in my circles. If it's possible to pause these hangouts, I really wish I knew how. Maybe one of these days I'll figure it out. But so I guess if the guys ain't gonna show, then I guess we could draw it to a close and stuff. I mean, unless you guys have any more to say, because I mean, I could try to add. I already knew this was gonna be a tough time slot anyway, and it was just because Justin had hardly participated, and Matthew hadn't been in any of them prior. And I also wanted to involve Drew and stuff, and I know he's in Singapore, so this is like the perfect time of day for him. But I guess when it becomes a more regular thing, as we get more established, we'll have the events posted a week ahead of time, maybe even 2-3 weeks ahead of time. You know, get up on it. But for right now, we're still just getting off the ground, so that is it is what it is. But you two have any more to say, Haley, Anna?
Nope.
Nope. Anna?
She's getting ready for an appointment.
Yeah, I think Anna's getting ready for an appointment. All right. Well, I guess you got. I think Johnny's going to be doing another one, either at 8 or 9 on Sunday evening. So we'll make sure to add the both of you to those events, and hopefully you might be able to make it then as well.
Okay.
Cool. Well, you have a good day, Haley.
You too, Eric.
Bye-bye.
You too. Bye.